Hello and welcome back to Cookin' Kids. It's been quite a while. I am all grown up now, but we are back full circle. For those of you who don't know, the lady behind the camera, my mom, is the one who instilled our love of cooking in our household. My mom is a teacher and she actually teaches cooking, and this is Isabel, one of her students. Isabel competed in a very big competition 2 years ago, and these are her macaroons that I think kind of like stole the show a little bit. So it's an honor to pass the Cookin' Kids baton over to Isabel.
Hi, nice to meet you. Macarons, a lot of people are scared to make them. However, once you get the right steps done and be precise with the measurement of the ingredients, anyone can make them. So it's just about following the steps and basically 4 different ingredients and pretty straightforward, just follow it. One of my best friends over here, the scale, it's really important, especially for a recipe like macarons, that we have our ingredients precisely measured. So I already have all my ingredients measured to the gram, and that will make it easier for myself. For my first step, I have my 70 grams of almond flour. I'm gonna be dumping it into my food processor, along with 90 grams of icing sugar, and I'm also gonna be dumping it over here. We wanna make sure that we just pulse. We don't wanna leave it processing for too long, otherwise the oils from the almond, it's gonna be released and it's gonna become wet. So quickly a couple times, and I also wanna kind of give it a quick shake between pulsing so it's fully mixed. So I'm running my dry ingredients into a sifter. I wanna make sure that there's not any big lumps. It's gonna make the tops of the macarons smoother. It's gonna give it a cleaner look, and it also adds air so we can get a better feed and consistency of the macarons. So now I'm gonna go ahead with my wet ingredients. I have my 70 grams of egg whites measured. They have to be room temperature. That will make the meringue become more fluffy. So I'm gonna dump them into a bowl, and then together with this I will add a pinch of salt. So what it does is enhances the flavor and also gives stability to the meringue. And for this recipe, we're gonna be using French meringue. I will be mixing this until frothy, and then we'll see from there. This is how it's supposed to look like. That's just frothy. And then I'm gonna go ahead with my granulated sugar. I'm gonna add it gradually while I'm mixing it. We wanna make sure that we don't add it all at once, otherwise it's gonna make it heavier to lift up. Okay, so this is how it looks like after we get those stiff picks. You can see, and then you should be able to do this. So you can tell that they're done. I gotta tell you that you have to be very patient when you're mixing your meringue. It took me at least 10 minutes, if not more. So be patient, but you gotta make sure that you get these stiff picks. I'm also gonna go ahead with my dry ingredients. I'm gonna be dumping them in 3 additions. The way I mix it, for the first addition, we can be a bit aggressive with it. I will be doing my second addition, and make sure that you also don't overmix, otherwise it's gonna affect the structure of the macarons. For my third and final addition, I wanna show you how you kind of make a J when you're mixing this with the spatula to make sure you go throughout the whole batter. And I also wanna push my batter towards the sides of the bowl to make sure I get rid of any big bubbles or extra air that's in here. At this stage, I'm adding any food coloring or flavors that we like. For this one, I'm not adding any flavors. However, I'm gonna be using this red food coloring, and this is about the amount that I'm adding. We also don't wanna wait until it's fully mixed, so we don't overmix, so I'm adding it right now halfway through the mixing. So this is how it looks like with the food coloring, and then it falls into a ribbon, and then you can see how it slowly fades in. So it's been mixed enough. If you overmix, the macarons wouldn't hold. Over here I have my piping bag. I already put the tip in, and I only piped about half of the batch because it makes it easier for me to pipe later on. I always make sure that my piping bag is twisted at the bottom so it's not too messy. And then this is a tip that I'm using. For piping this, I'm using some templates to stay consistent. I like piping every other. That will make sure that they have enough space for the air to fluctuate and bake even. So I'm gonna show you guys how I pipe it. We gotta make sure that our tip is straight, perpendicular to the tray. We wanna keep enough distance from the tray, not too close and not too far. And you can see this motion that I'm doing with my wrist. It's a really quick circular motion to make sure that I don't leave a very pointy tip. Honestly, this is the step that takes the most practice. So it's just about a lot of practice, and then once you get it, it comes easier. So I smacked it about a few times. We want to get rid of all those bubbles inside the macarons. And then with a toothpick, I'm gonna go over the tops. You can see these visible bubbles. We want to get rid of them just for the tops to be as smooth as possible. You might see even some bubbles that are just popping out the shell. So that's just gonna give a cleaner look to your macarons. Now I'm gonna let them rest at room temperature for about 45 minutes. I want them to build the skin. So that's gonna keep the shell from breaking. And it's also gonna help them raise the feet. So while those are resting, let's talk about some baking. It's important that I mention that when you pipe your shells, you use the tray flipped. That's gonna allow better airflow and it's gonna make them bake even. When you bake them, we want the oven at 300 degrees and we will bake them for around 15 minutes, give or take, depending on the size of your shell. We'll do one tray at a time also, and it's important that it's in the middle rack so we get a perfect airflow. And most importantly, don't forget you don't open the door, the oven door, until they're done. I skipped a few steps ahead, but you can see the final product. After the shells are baked, you have to go through a process called marrying the shells. So you have to find the perfect shell for each one. So you want to find a shell that is about the same size to get a more uniform look. And this is the point where you guys get creative. You can play with colors, flavors. For this ones, we just chose a simple vanilla buttercream, but you can do a chocolate ganache, lemon curd, a pastry cream, anything you like. And then for the piping, you want to make sure when you pipe into a shell, you go not up to the rim, but a bit before, so you want to squeeze them. The buttercream will get into its own place. I also played with some fondant and I chose this Valentine's Day inspired look. I decided to add some fondant roses that I made using this mold. So it's very simple. You can just add full color into the fondant. And again, you can really go creative with this. Choose any design. And I'm also using this gold dust that just give it a few stripes and look how cute they end up looking.
Let's taste these.